Now, the stock market has been pretty crazy as of recently, and I've been doing a ton of buying across my long-term portfolio, adding a ton of new stocks and ETFs, which I intend to hold on to long-term, at least until anything else changes. So in this video, we're going to do an entire portfolio breakdown, and I'm going to share with you guys every single stock and ETF that I'm holding as of right now, how many shares of each, and how much I'm earning in dividends per year, per month, etc. I'm also going to share with you some of my new favorite additions to the portfolio, because as always, things are changing on an ongoing basis. So if you want to see a 7-figure dividend portfolio breakdown and know all the ins and outs of everything that I'm holding on to, well, then make sure to stick around, drop a like down below, and let's get right into it. My A to Z dividend investing ebook has helped countless dividend investors get started with their journey. And my custom dividend tracker that I'm constantly using here on the channel has also helped so many investors stay on track and allow them to see their dividend income in real time. Well, today I have another treat for you guys. I'm not only going to offer you my A to Z dividend investing ebook and the custom dividend tracker, but also just for a short limited time, I'm going to be adding in my brand new weekly dividend blueprint ebook to show you how you can get started with weekly dividend ETFs and add this into your investing strategy. This offer is not going to last long, so go ahead and click the first link down below in my description, and you're going to get both ebooks and the custom dividend tracker bundle. But like I said, please act fast because this won't be around for long. Now let's get back into the video. So here's my portfolio right here on the screen, as you guys can see. This is my custom dividend tracker, which you guys can also, of course, grab down below. It's the first link in my description. And this basically tracks all the different stocks and ETFs I have across multiple different brokerages. I personally have been investing in the stock market for around 8 or so years as of right now, buying different stocks and ETFs basically on an ongoing basis every single trading day. Now, over the past 8 or so years, I've collected different portfolios in multiple different brokerages, and that's why my custom dividend tracker is perfect, because I can basically by hand input all the different holdings I have across multiple brokerages and see exactly what we're working with. But across everything as of right now, this is all just to be estimated as always. I'm currently at around $94,000 per year in dividends, or around $7,800 more or less per month on average. Now, of course, some months are going to be much more than less, and that's because some of my holdings pay out on a quarterly basis, and some also pay out monthly or weekly. But as some of you guys might know, my plan or my goal in 2025 is to get my portfolio to $8,500 per month in dividends on a consistent basis. I would be extremely happy with that. Now, without wasting any more time, my first holding is ticker symbol BDJ, the BlackRock Enhanced Equity Dividend Trust ETF that I've been holding for several years now. I did add a few more shares of this one. I'm sitting at 1,785 shares. Next up, we have 1,625 shares of Devo, the Amplified CWP Enhanced Dividend Income ETF. Devo has been one of my favorite sort of low beta holdings that I've held in my portfolio for several years now. And Devo has been on a bit of a pullback, so I have been grabbing a bit more Devo compared to maybe a month or two ago. We still have my 1,262 shares of Verizon stock. I have no intention on adding any more of this one. If anything, I do want to sell off Verizon when I get the next chance to do so. Verizon has been climbing back though. It's at $44 per share. So we are still off a long way from my average cost per share of 53, but I have been getting paid monster dividends every single quarter from these 1,200 plus shares for the last several years. We still have my 1,001 shares of Apple stock. Nothing new there, nothing changing there. We have 2,746 of QLD. I'm not sure if I added any more since my last video updates, maybe a share or two here and there. Then we have our 2,816 shares of Realty Income. This Realty Income position is pretty maxed out. I don't really want to add much more to this position. Although whenever Realty Income does pay me dividends every single month, maybe I'll grab a share or two in some of my smaller portfolios. But Realty Income is still a massive position in my portfolio, and Realty Income has been doing a lot better as of recently. We then have our 1,218 shares of JEPI, nothing new there. We have our 749 EPD. We have our 700 BST. We have our 489 shares of JEPQ, the JP Morgan Nasdaq Equity Premium Income ETF, which I also have been adding a little bit more as of recently. We then have 60 shares of ZIVB, or now ZVOL. We have 246 shares of NUSI. We have 194 of XYLD. We have 2386 of SCHD. Buying as many shares as possible before the next ex-dividend date, which is coming up very soon here. We then still have our 311 shares of Altria Group. We have our 262 of Triple N REIT. We still have our 100 shares of JP Morgan. We still have our 293 shares of BG Properties, which has also been climbing back up nicely. We have our 59 shares of Kinder Morgan. We have our 285 of Main Street Capital. We still have our 351 shares of WPC. We have our 47 shares of PNW, our 255 of TSLY, which I bought as an experiment back when it started trading. And fun fact about TSLY, even though I'm down significantly, I bought it at around $26 per share. It's now sitting at around $9 per share. If you take into consideration all the income that this ETF has paid me over the last year or two, I'm actually not down all that much whatsoever, but still not my favorite holding. We still have our 24 shares of UPS. UPS has not been doing well this year at all. I'm very happy I trimmed my UPS position, I think last year a little bit. Our 20 shares of PBA still, our 18 of ABR, our 16 EXR, we have our 17 SPG. SVOL, we have 794 shares of the Simplified Volatility Premium ETF. Another one that I'm not necessarily sold on, but I do have a decent sized position at this point. We then have 9 shares of Stag, we have 8 shares of T-Row, we have 19 of KMB, 3180 of BNQ, we have 200 KO, we have 700 PSA, we have 853 SPYI, which I have also been adding a little bit more as of recently. We have 168 shares of FEPI, which I also haven't added a little bit more as of recently. Then lastly, we have 2 shares of DGRW, we still have our 4 shares of FDVB, our 14 BIG, our 288 shares of SPYT, then 24 shares of Pepsi, 41 shares of AT&T, we have 1 share of DIVB, we have 299 shares of QQQI, which I also been buying a lot more as of recently. We have 29 AIPI, we have 2 shares of QQA, we have 15 shares of ABBV, we have 81 GPIQ, we have 83 GPIX, we have 32 shares of QDTE, and 65 shares of Coney, another experiment position. So across all the portfolios, this is more or less where things are sitting at as of right now. Like I mentioned, I do want to get my portfolio to the point to where it's going to pay me a consistent $8,500 per month in dividend income. Now, of course, I can in theory just buy some ultra high yielding ETFs and get to that goal ASAP with a small amount of money invested. But instead of doing that, I want to buy high quality stocks and ETFs that not only are going to pay me a bunch of dividend income consistently, but also hopefully grow over time. Now, some of my top picks moving forward are still things like JEPQ. I want to add a lot more JEPQ to the portfolio, especially if we see some dips in the market from here. I want to add more Devo ETF. I also want to add a lot more SCHD. Now beyond that, I want to add some more of the NEOS ETFs like SPYI or like QQQI. Also, I want to add a lot more of these Goldman Sachs ETFs, GPIQ and GPIX. For the most part, I want high quality dividend growth ETFs and or covered call style ETFs that have an index as an underlying like the S&P 500 or the NASDAQ. And although my portfolio for the most part is kind of boring, there's not necessarily anything super flashy in here. This portfolio definitely gets the job done and pays me a boatload of income consistently, which I'm still currently reinvesting into more shares. Which brings me into one of my most frequently asked questions, which let me answer right here. As of right now, I'm currently 32 years old, and as of right now, I am still reinvesting all my dividends on a monthly basis in, you guessed it, more dividend paying stocks and ETFs. Now, sometime in the future, maybe a year from now, maybe 2 years from now, maybe 4 years from now, whatever the case might be, I do want to start taking a chunk of my monthly dividends and do things like use that money for expenses, maybe to travel, or maybe to help out some family and friends. But as of right now, I'm still net reinvesting 100% of every single proceeds of all the proceeds that I get from any different stock or ETF that pays me dividends. And of course, if and when that changes, you guys will be the first to know. So moving forward in the portfolio, I'm going to keep buying my favorite ETFs and just try to stay out of the way of all the crazy volatility that we've seen so far this year. So now that you guys saw under the hood of my 7-figure portfolio that pays me north of $7,800 per month in dividends, or around $74K per year. I lastly, most importantly, have a question for you down below. Out of this entire portfolio, what's your number 1 favorite position if you had to pick? And what's your least favorite position? Let me know in the comments down below. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to please drop a like on it and subscribe for more future content like this. Thanks as always for stopping by, and if you are interested in investing, make sure to check out these recent videos I posted right here.